Well, hey there, and welcome to Mix It 3. You didn't know what was happening right there for a quick second. So
I know, it was a little too long.
Hope your Wednesday's doing well. It is Cliff and Nat.
Yeah, welcome to the show. Let's have some fun. We have 30 minutes to have a lot of fun.
Absolutely, absolutely. You first.
Yes.
No, hope you're
Speaking of fun.
Yes, I hope your week's going well so far.
Yes.
You might have seen the promos running here.
That's what I said, is speaking of fun.
Yeah, well, it's fun for you guys watching.
Exactly.
What if we got ourselves into is what I said at the end of the promo. Keep your ears and eyes open for our very soon-to-be Mix Summer Games in honor of those other games that we cannot
Better
speak of.
cannot say the name.
Yes, yeah. Like the superb owl, but you get the idea.
Yeah, that one is happening in Paris. You know what we're talking about.
Nat and I will be going head-to-head.
Yes.
In a couple of different events.
Yeah.
That,
sometimes arm to arm.
Yes. And sometimes on the floor, out of breath, because neither of us were prepared for anything that we were about to do. But
what are we doing, Cliff?
I don't know. I think we're going to be doing some fencing.
Yes.
There may be some boxing. We'll see. Could be some running. Could be some swimming.
Stay tuned. We'll see what we're going to be doing there, right?
I told you I wanted to do axe throwing, but you said no.
It's not an Olympic sport. Oops.
Well, cat's out of the bag now. No, that's going to be starting up on July 29th, so be sure that you check that out.
I blame this on you because you made me say it.
Hilarity will ensue. I do
Exactly.
nothing. I just sit over here on my side, holding the wand. That's what I do. I will make you do this. I will go forward the prompter right there for you.
Yeah, well, let's start the show.
Yeah.
Because we have a lot of health and wellness related topics to talk about.
Absolutely.
And our guests today are going to be talking about sports and health and so.
Yeah.
So this new study, so it's from the National Institutes of Health, suggests that a daily multivitamin may not help you live a longer life.
That's right. Researchers looked at data on more than 400,000 healthy U.S. adults over 20. They found no differences in mortality or risk of death for those who took multivitamins versus those who did not. Now, that includes deaths from cancer and from heart disease, too. I don't take multivitamins per se now. I mean, I'll have like my little B12 and I'll have a turmeric or whatever. But hey, give me the old Flintstones multivitamin.
Yeah.
I'll take that any day. Just because I liked them.
I know. I started to get the habit of taking daily multivitamins when I was pregnant. We know the prenatal vitamins.
Well, you were taking vitamins for 2. Yeah.
Yes. And then after that, I was like, okay, I'm going to keep taking just the regular multivitamins. And yes, I was pretty regular, but right now I forget. Like sometimes I take one day, forgot 2, and then I take another one, but...
So you need to take that vitamin for the brain.
For the brain, yes. Yeah, it's just too much going on.
Yeah, to the point where, if you're taking more than 5 or 6 at one time.
Yeah, no, I'm not taking that. It's just the multivitamins. Oh, well, but, I mean, it's not doing any harm. I don't know if it's going to make me live longer, but it's not doing any harm, so I'm going to keep taking it whenever I remember to take it.
And if you are taking it, hey, it's a study. It's not factual.
Exactly.
So, or not that we know of yet. Anyway, how about another study here showing many tattoo inks contain bacteria? Well, the FDA looked at sealed ink used for both tattoo and permanent makeup. So get this, researchers found about 35% of it all was contaminated. It made no difference if the label claimed that the ink had been sterilized.
Okay, so among the bacteria discovered were those that can cause acne and urinary tract infections. This was the first study to look at anaerobic bacteria in tattoo ink. So it was published in the journal Applied in Environmental Microbiology.
Now, I did radio for almost 30 years.
Yes.
I don't have a tattoo.
That is surprising.
Well, my daughter has tattoos. My wife has tattoos. My son does not have tattoos.
Yeah.
You know, and we're the ones that actually played music and played in bands and went out everywhere.
Wait a minute. So, because you started saying like you worked in radio for 30 minutes, so 30 years. So that does that mean?
Felt like it.
Yeah. Does that mean that all people that work in radio they have tattoos?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
Not necessarily. I know a number of people that don't, but I know a number of people that do.
That do.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you know, like literally, mom on the side of the arm. And, then you got the little tribal tattoo circle.
Yeah,
that
the
was big
tribal
in
is
the
very-
90s and everything. But yeah, I always, like once every 6 months, I sit down and I get a thought. I'm like, it's time to get that tat.
Yeah, why not?
And because I still haven't found one that I want. I mean, that's a permanent thing, right?
Yes. Yeah. So yeah, you have to be super sure what you want.
You have a tattoo.
I do. I love my tattoo, and I'm not tired of it yet. So
Okay.
that's a good thing because I'm not gonna remove it.
Good, because you can't.
Well, I
That
can with
that would be
laser.
difficult. Yeah, you can, but who would want to pay for that after paying for a tat?
Right.
Hey, coming up on Mix It 3 here, of course, July full of sporting events. We're going to be sharing some that might spark your interest. And it won't just be us performing it. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. The Augusta Sports Council is gearing up for lots of events in July, and they need your help.
Yeah, that's right. We sat down with the Augusta Sports Council CEO, Michelle Pippin, who told us about the organization, as well as the events coming up this month and the need for volunteers.
Hey, thanks for joining us, Michelle. Good to see you again.
Good to see you guys.
Good to see you.
Before we get to everything that's going on for the rest of this summer, let's talk about the history of the Augusta Sports Council and its inception. How did this all get started?
Well, back in '91, a group of community members kind of came up with this idea of coming up with growing sports tourism in our area. Around that time, sports councils and CVBs, Convention and Visitors Bureau, those were around the time that all those things were starting. Mr. Morris was our first president of our organization, and so he wanted to grow and build something like that other cities were starting to pop up and have here in Augusta. So it's kind of where we all started, and then kind of grew from there.
And the rest is history.
And the rest is history, right? And let's talk now about the sporting events coming up in July, because there are quite some big ones, right?
Yep, yeah, we had some. July used to be, basketball month, which it still is.
Right.
It's a little bit longer this year, 10 days of elite basketball over in North Augusta, Riverview Park, and then we'll finish the rest of the month with a USA cycling event. So about 1,000 cyclists coming in for that event.
To that point, from an economic point of view, since the Sports Council has become so involved and there are more events coming in, how big of an impact is that throughout the area?
Yeah, I mean, Peach Jam, for example, you got to think about it. It's not just that one tournament, it's a bunch of satellite tournaments that are happening in our community, all because these different event organizers, tournament organizers know that all these coaches and our teams, NBA teams are going to be here in our area. So why not put on an event and kind of chance that they'll get eyes on their players. So, Peach Jam alone, I think this year, because it is longer, is over 10 million. I want to say it's 13 or 15. I need to double check that. We just put out a report,
Right.
a arrivals report. So yeah, that's huge for us, for that 10 days in our community. That's obviously people from out of town staying in our local accommodations, whether it's Airbnbs or hotels and shopping, and it's parents and grandparents, out in our community.
And the occasional NBA legend might pop its face.
Yes,
Maybe. Yeah,
Okay.
we got a couple of those running around with kids
18.
now, so never know who you'll run into. But that's also the uniqueness of the event for our community is you never know who you'll run
that's
into.
amazing. And the USA cycling event, that you said 1,000
Cyclists, yeah.
will be here, and it's all happening downtown Augusta.
No, we'll be in Fort Eisenhower
Oh, okay.
for 3 days, and then we'll be in downtown Augusta for the final day for the criterium, where they go around the corners real fast.
And with so many events,
Yep.
there is a huge need for volunteers too.
Yes,
Right? So
yes.
what can you tell us about volunteer opportunities, and how can people reach out to be part of that?
Yeah, so Sports Council, we're actively looking for volunteers. We're probably needing about 300 volunteers to help us during the USA Cycling event. And everyone can go to our website or our Facebook page to see the links to sign up to volunteer.
And that's where they also can find more information about Augusta Sports Council and other events too, right?
Yeah.
There
Yeah.
we go.
Now, we're talking about sports. We're talking cycling here. We're talking basketball here. But there is a bevy of sports that have really come into play here in the CS area in a long time. What are some of the big ones? I mean, you even have disc golf that's out there.
Yeah. Our friends at Professional Disc Golf Association, pickleball is not going away. It's definitely the top trending and most popular sport in the U.S. and in our industry right now. So we're excited to see Dink Pickleball opening up. Today was their grand opening, and then they have a big open house on Saturday. So it's neat to start seeing venues like that where the community obviously can, use their places, their venues, but we can also use that as a spot that we can maybe attract an event to take place in.
Right.
And Ironman is probably the biggest one here in town, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, people-wise.
huge.
So we're excited. September 29th, another one where we'll need, probably close to 1,000 volunteers for that one.
Okay, see, yeah, so the need is dire.
Yes.
Again, where can people go to get the information to become a volunteer?
Yeah, AugustaSportsCouncil.org, or they can follow us on social media, Instagram, Facebook, where we'll have links posted everywhere.
All right, there you go. Chief Executive Officer of the Augusta Sports Council, Michelle Pippin. Michelle, we appreciate all the info.
Thanks
a lot.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, coming up on Mix It 3, do you know what a blue zone is? Well, if you want to live longer and better, you might want to learn more about this. That's what we're talking about next. Stand by. Mix It 3 returns in just a few.
Well, the possibility of living a longer and healthier life is more attractive than ever. And for guidance, we can look to the daily practice of people who live the longest.
So, could the place where they live play a factor? Well, there are some areas in the world where people live extraordinarily long lives. Those areas are actually called blue zones.
Yeah, we spoke with Dr. Jed about what those areas have in common. Take a look.
Jed, thanks for joining us today.
Hey, good to see y'all again.
Good to see you too. Blue zones, what we're talking about right here. This is a loaded question, but why people in blue zones live longer than the rest of the world?
Yeah, sure, Cliff. Well, first off, most people know, but blue zones are essentially portions of the world where there's an abnormally high percentage of people that live to be around 100 years old or over 100 years old. And honestly, you can't break it down into one factor, and that's what most Americans kind of hate, right? Everyone wants to know, what's this little rainforest pill we can take and just do the rest of the stuff we do, but it's not. All the blue zone stuff have lifestyle commonalities, but they don't have the same magic micronutrient or any of that. It's just lifestyle commonalities.
So what are they?
Sure. So there's a couple different things they're doing. You can separate them out very specific. It's common that people break them into about 9 categories, but I'm an ER doc. I like to keep things more clumped, more simple. So basically the 3 big ones are, 1, how they're living. So people in blue zones tend to be very active, not necessarily gym rats, but very active. They live in hilly environments. They garden a lot. A lot of the work they do is manual labor, even if that just means chopping firewood to heat their homes. So you got that kind of active lifestyle coming in. Number 2 is nutritionally. They tend to eat very plant-forward, generally very unprocessed foods. They kind of live life slower, so they live life longer in a sense. They're not using microwaves and stuff. They're doing those big meals, picking food from their garden. And then number 3, and super important and so easy to overlook, is they have such a relational component. So the people in blue zones, very family-oriented, keeps them connected with their communities, seeing people in real human interaction, not clicking online in chats and getting mad at people, So they kind of have those themes of movement, good, normal, recognizable food, and strong community structure. Those are the things that all the blue zones have in common.
I think he just described my country. I feel like I
So why did
Having been, it seemed healthier than we were.
why did you move
back.
here?
Exactly. Okay, bye, people. I'm moving back to Brazil.
Well, you just brought up a number of good advantages
Yeah.
for a blue zone hill. So we don't necessarily live in a blue zone, but can we have the same benefits?
So we can, it just takes a little more effort. So the people in blue zones tend to live that way because it's their literal way of life, right? We're kind of outsiders and have studied it. And especially in Western culture, we have such a propensity to just try and fit one more thing into our schedule. That is like the least blue zone thing you can do. You know, blue zoners are not commuting. They're not checking their email while they're driving, trying to do, you know, they live pretty simple lives. It's kind of simple, happy, relational. And we can absolutely do that. We just need to be conscious about it. And it's not an all or nothing either. You know, it's kind of, you can go towards that continuum. Give yourself strict work boundaries. You know, when you get home, say 6 p.m., you absolutely don't check work emails anyway.
Right.
And you know what? Your boss gets used to it. They get over it. I told mine, like, I won't get an Apple Watch because I don't want it coming in.
We can neither deny nor confirm said thing, but we hope.
So yeah, it's those little boundaries. You know, it's the choices in food. We've covered this quite a bit, but again, eating very plant forward, natural for the most part, under-processed, things like that, your food choices, and then we can absolutely decide to be active. For us, you know, we like to pack it in a little quicker going to the gym, and that's great. There's good data on that. Or if you just decide to live in some manner that's very active, you know, a lot of your commuting is walking. You get your exercise in by working in a garden, things like that. So we can work it in, and again, it's not all or nothing. Do what you can. That's going to improve your health.
Park at the end of the parking lot if you're going to the store. That little extra walk.
Yeah,
Except this week where you might not make it because blue zoners don't die of heat exhaustion on the way.
Exactly, yeah. But yeah, we've been talking about longevity for a while now, and this is obviously one of the topics. So I think the main takeaway, and correct if I'm wrong, they want to give it to the audience is, okay, there's so many alternatives and options here. You can have all these drugs and things to make you live longer, but are you necessarily living happier? Right?
Yeah.
So by living by this lifestyle, or what the people in the blue zones do, they might be living longer and happier at the same time and healthier, right?
Yeah, and you're absolutely correct, Nat. You touched on it. One thing we did not mention for any theme of the blue zones is advanced medical care, right? None of these little pockets of the world where people are living so long are anywhere near the most advanced in their life-saving surgeries and blah, 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 because they're living in a manner where you don't need that, essentially. You know, they're kind of aging gracefully, dying naturally by doing those other things right. Decreased stress, better food, regular movement. And again, that relational component is so, so important. You know, they laugh a lot and they're with people.
Yep.
All right, good things to know here. Turn your home into a blue zone.
You can. Take some work.
Dr. Jed Ballard, thank you so much.
Hey, no problem. Great to see you all again.
Coming up on Mix It 3, okay, we're talking about a skin disease that affects around 9 million people in the U.S. What is it, and what can be done about it? That's next. We're back in 60 seconds here on Mix It 3. Imagine a life where people would stare at your body in an odd way and ask, is it contagious? The it in question was plaque psoriasis, a common immune skin disease that can cause itchy red plaques on Brandon Shamoun's stomach, ankles, and elbows.
Yeah, for years, the Detroit native would try to hide the symptoms underneath piles of clothes, even in the hot days of summer. So Brandon spoke with us about his condition and how summer heat can trigger a flare-up and how he got it under control. Take a look.
Hey, Brandon, thanks for spending some time with us this afternoon. We appreciate it.
Thanks so much for having me.
Absolutely, absolutely. Tell our viewers about this, the emotional and physical toll of having psoriasis.
Yeah, so when I first found out or diagnosed with psoriasis about 10 years ago or so, it was a toll on myself because I'm pretty active, pretty social, like going out, hanging with friends, going to the beach, you know, being out, especially in the summer months, tank tops, shorts, etc. And it did have a little bit of emotional toll because it kind of made me pretty self-conscious, and I had to be, you know, more in the know about what I'm wearing, even in the hot months, kind of, you know, keep it closed and things like that.
So, okay, so since you mentioned summer months, so I know it was hard for you, but can you share a little bit how you would cover your skin to prevent unwanted questions or stares?
Yeah, so, you know, we would go to the beach and things like that, even going out and walking downtown and in the areas there, and I would wear pants or long sleeve shirts when, you know, probably would make more sense to wear shorts or just short sleeve shirts, etc. So definitely making sure none of those, my skin, my elbows, ankles are exposed because of that.
And Brandon, how did you finally eventually get your psoriasis under control?
So when it first started, I talked to my doctor, my dermatologist, and find solutions for that. And so I was able to use search engines and find Zoryve, and so I did my own research on that. And with that medication, I talked to my dermatologist and was able to try it, and it really worked for me. So that's, just trying different things, but then that was the one that kind of worked the best for me.
Yeah, I think the good thing is there is hope and you can find solutions, right? So, but how has your life changed since finding the right treatment option for you, plaque psoriasis?
My conscious level kind of has gone down. I'm not as subconsciously aware or unaware of what others may think. I don't really care anymore because of those physical pigmentations, the patches and whatnot are not as visible. So I'm able to, be comfortable with my skin and myself and wear the short sleeves and the shirts and start, going to the pools and the beaches and laying out to just be myself like all my friends and other folks are doing.
Brandon, what advice do you have for others who could be dealing with this plaque psoriasis? How would you tell them to get around it?
Yeah, the biggest thing is to talk to your doctor and have that open communication. I think for me, that's what I did. I did some of my own research, but also had the comfortability to come out to my doctor and say, hey, this is what's happening in my skin. I know everyone's a little bit different, but you'll be able to hopefully eventually find the right solution that works best for you.
We appreciate you stepping out and talking about this. Obviously, it's something that a lot of people have to deal with, and you're dealing with it in a great way. Again, Assistant Dean of Students at Wayne State University, Brandon Shamoon. Brandon, thank you so much for sharing your story with us.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me.
First, very brave for him to come out and talk about this, too.
Yes.
But he's also handling it incredibly well. But again, he also said you check with your doctors.
Always.
Yeah, there's always a way to get around it.
Yeah, but it was great advice. Yeah, I hope you take some lessons from it today.
Thank you, Brandon. And thank you for watching. We got First and 4 on the way with the latest news, and Investigate TV Plus is next.
All right, thanks for watching. See you tomorrow.